amend item number 1 to include Tornado Athletics 10U Gold Softball Team.
Second.
Anybody from the public? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, now we will vote on the agenda as amended. Do we have a motion in the, no, we don't. We need a motion and a second to,
move.
Second.
okay. All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Number 1 on the agenda is a proclamation to Tornado Athletics 9U baseball team. Okay. Baseball team and
We're doing baseball first.
we'll do the girls second, okay.
I'm on baseball with it. Come on, guy. Right over here. Right in here. Come on. Somebody get over here. Let's go right here. Come on, swing your other leg. They won't see you up there. Madam Chair, thank you. We have the honor tonight to, recognize the Tornado Athletics 9 and under baseball team for the remarkable 2023 season. We commend the coaching staff and players on their notable accomplishments. Tornado Athletics baseball team are the USSSA Gold World Series 9 and under Open Silver Bracket champions. Tornado Athletics 9 under baseball team, through dedication, commitment, and many hours of hard work, have finished the season with 11-4-1 run in the last 3 tournaments of the season, taking 3rd place in the Governor's games and going on to defeat the going undefeated in 1st place in the Louisiana-Texas border wars. That's a pretty good accomplishment right there. Maybe we do better in Texas than good. Baseball teaches teamwork, dedication, discipline, and ability to get along with others. The following team members are Adelaide Babez, Aiden Trahan, Brantley Bergeron, Caleb Saunier, Colt Boudreau, Joe Watzlawick, Colston Jack, Levi Kyle, Reed Briggs, Reed Staines, Rock Staines, and Ethan Spinateri. We also like to recognize the coaches, Josie Kyle, Corey Briggs, and Brett Bergeron, for their leadership, knowledge, and guidance in coaching these teams to a championship. They're being proclaimed that here at the City Council and myself do by proclaim this day, July 11th, as Tornado Athletics 9 and under baseball team day. Congratulations. Coaches. Thank you, sir. Okay, we're gonna get some pictures, I do believe, huh? Everybody any pictures? Everybody got pictures? Want a picture? Now it's time. Come on up here. Hang on. You can't see her, she can't see you. That'd be me. Congratulations, Joe. Job well done. Represent our city well.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
That's the one for the ones who work in. Yeah, I'm just.
Thanks very much. ladies, come on in here. Come in here. Right, come on in. Line up here.
Yeah, so we have a big team.
No, no. Madam Chair, we're honored tonight to proudly recognize the Tornado Athletics 10 and under gold softball team for their outstanding 2023 season and commend the entire coaching staff and players for the remarkable season. The Tornado Athletics gold softball team are the Jenny Finch World Series champions. These young ladies exemplify the highest traditions of discipline, teamwork, mental and physical strength, which all go hand in hand for a winning team. The following team members are Piper Broussard, Mandy Brown, Caden Dixon, Jada Ringo, Emma Rice, Abby Martin, Paisley Daigle, Jenna Kaiser, London Petrie, Cameron Ferris, and Honor Maggio. We now declare this day, July 11th, as Tornado Athletes Golden Softball Team Day. Congratulations, ladies. I ain't world champion. We're gonna get one of these.
You get the rest.
Come up here. We'll take pictures. Right here. Okay.
On three. 1, 2, 3. And I'll just take one more. Thank you.
Look up here, girl. Right.
You're welcome. Appreciate you. Take care.
Need some of that. I'll wait.
Next on the agenda is the rule of show calls for the condition of the following addresses. A, to condemn building or structure located at 427, 427 and a half, and 435 North Crocker Street in accordance with Article 9, Section 5 through 286, Section 286 through 5296. I'll need a motion in a second. So moved. Second. Is there anyone here to speak on this item?
Madam Chair, real quick. I received a phone call from the owner of the properties late this afternoon, and he has all intentions of taking those three structures down, so.
So,
Go ahead, y'all go ahead and proceed.
we will rule the show calls, which means he will take it down within the next, or within 30 days.
Be ordered to take it down.
He's ordered to take it down, and so since he said he is, we will vote on that. Do we do all of it? All in favor, say aye. Or do we do roll call?
Ms. Allender?
Yes.
Ms. Harding?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
To condemn building or structure located at 209 Quelcashue Street in accordance with Article 9, Section 5286 through 5296, Ms. Thomas.
Is there anyone here to speak on this item? So moved. Second.
Are you here to speak on Quelcashue?
Yes, that's my house.
Okay, could you go to the mic and state your name and address, please?
William Suttle, 100 Orchard Street, Sulphur.
So, you have anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna tear the house down, if that's what.
Okay, so
Okay, so we're good to proceed with the show calls, the condemnation?
Sir, just so you understand the process, they would condemn it, and then that gives you a period to tear it down on your own.
Mhm.
And then if you don't, then the city would have to tear it down and, put a lien on it and stuff. But if you tear it down on your own, then that resolves everything.
Yeah, I plan on tearing it down on my own.
okay, all right, thank you.
I just still been fighting insurance, so. It's almost complete, so as soon as that's done, I'll be tearing the house down.
So do you think it would be within 30
Yeah, what
days?
timeline are you thinking?
With the tearing it down?
Right,
I won't be
no,
able to
with
tear it
your
down, but-
insurance.
Yeah, I should be closed out with the insurance within the 30 days.
Okay,
Okay.
alright then, thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call please.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes. Okay, to condemn building or structure located at 1040 Grady Street in accordance with Article 9, Section 5286 through 5296.
So moved.
Second.
Is anyone here from that address? Roll call please.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
To condemn building or structure located at 302 Willow Avenue and 701 Elm Street in accordance with Article 9, Section 5286 through 5296. Ms. Hardy?
So that, job was done, it's complete, there are no issues, it's already been demoed, so do we need a motion or anything?
It's
done.
done, and y'all are
It's been
satisfied
resolved,
with the
yes.
condition, then you would vote it down.
Satisfied.
So do we vote on it?
You can just not, you can just.
Okay, so it's done.
It's
All right.
done, it's completed, there are no issues.
Okay, number 3 is an extension for temporary housing and recreational vehicles due to damage caused by Hurricane Laura for the following addresses. To extend temporary housing in a recreational vehicle located at 1408 Forest Lane in accordance with ordinance number 1693 MC Series. Ms. Abshire, do you want me to call the people that want to speak on it? Yes.
The homeowner's here.
She's here, Amy. Tell your name, I mean your number. Give me your number, your name, your address, everything.
Amy Carter, 1408 Forest Lane. We have just come, to ask for a couple more months extension. We're still in litigation with our insurance company. We have a court date supposed to be coming up in November, so we're still a few months away from that. But we have an opportunity to move into a rent home, and so we're just waiting for the repairs and things to be done to that house and be available for us, so. Just need a couple more months so that we can move.
So, okay. Also, Mr. Bro, you wanted to speak on this?
No, mine is that the one on Forest?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to give your name and address and all that?
Yes, you do.
Okay, that's the one we'll do. Billy Brill, 1305 P Street here in Sulphur. First one to come out, I've been to a lot of board meetings across the country. What makes Sulphur special is we still do the pledge and we still do the prayer. Kudos to that. I'm not unsympathetic to what's going on at that address. Been in the insurance business for 30 some odd years, understand sometimes it can get to be a little hectic. Takes a little time to get stuff done. It took us over 9 months just to get a window for one of our dormers. So I understand what's going on. The issue that I have is you still need to show some pride of ownership. When you drive by that house, and I'm short, so when you drive by the house and you go to the garage, you've got trees or whatever it is that's growing up taller than I am. You've got, it looks like probably a 10-piece locker unit that's leaned over with weeds growing up all over the place. There's things that are all over the front porch. It just looks like it's abandoned, even though with a house that's there. We have several houses in the neighborhood that are kind of fighting the same things, but the other ones, if you didn't know, like a house that's on Diane, if you didn't notice the big sewage drain coming from the RV, you couldn't tell that anything was going on there. House that's down the street from where I live, the people are living in Texas, but they have people that come in to keep the yard up, keep the front clean, so it looks like it's relatively vacant. All I'm asking is just clean it up, put it all in the backyard, clean it up, make it look good. We've had a lot of people that have wanted to come, it's like, Billy, would you go? And it's like, all right, I'll go and stay someplace. Nothing against, I'll understand what you're dealing with. Insurance companies can be a royal pain in the rear end. I'm just asking them to just kind of make it look like somebody's living there, to kind of clean it up a little bit. That's my only concern.
Ms. Carter, I didn't know what Mr. Bro was gonna speak on, but I'm gonna have to ditto that, because I've gone by as well, and, y'all have been through the mill with the insurance, and I'm very, very sympathetic for that, I really am. But there needs to be some cleanup. I've done the same thing with my business, we try to keep it clean around there. It just makes a bad situation for y'all, just that much worse looking, and it's not appealing to anyone else. At some point in time, we gotta move this city forward, we gotta get beyond the storms we've had. I know y'all have a bunch of, looks like sheetrock mud buckets and stuff around. I thought maybe y'all could kinda get that cleaned up, and especially now, since I know it's gonna be like November, and hopefully by then, I mean, y'all could get pushed back. You don't have any promises, and y'all been very good about, staying, keeping the city abreast of y'all's situation, so I'm very willing to work with you if we could just get some of that done, because I saw the cabinet, it's leaning back against the rollaway, so it just
Right,
looks
and
bad.
I understand that, I appreciate y'all's concern. My husband has worked a ridiculous amount of overtime just to support living the way that we're living. It's extremely expensive to continue to live and pay mortgage and pay, you know, utilities on something that you cannot use. It is obvious that, you know, the house is not livable inside. You can see that it's studs all the way through. But with my husband working as much as he can, he is not able to even do our lawn, so we have started paying someone else who actually does our lawn for us. I'll discuss with him and see what we can do about either having somebody come
Well, I'm gonna,
move some of the things, but you're right, if the city needs to move forward, I wish my life could move forward, and it's not, so.
I'm fighting the same
I
thing
mean,
for
I
my
understand.
business, but I have to stipulate, in 2 months, if you come back, if there's no cleanup, then it's gonna have to have a serious discussion about it. You gotta do a
Well,
little bit.
and,
Gotta do
right, I
something.
understand, and once we move out, that may be possible, because the things that you see outside, they're not going inside, because our garage is where most of that would go. My garage is full of our clothes, that's like all of our closets,
I got
that's where, you know, we have, I don't know, it's hard.
I got you. Now, are you gonna take the RV with you when y'all move this?
Not
What's gonna happen
immediately,
with
because
that?
we don't have anywhere immediate to move it, but eventually, yes, we will. As soon as we figure out where we'll put it.
I make a motion that we approve for a 2-month extension with the stipulation, there has to be some cleanup around the exterior side.
I need a second. Is there any other? What else here? Roll call please.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
And we had a second, right? We did have a,
Mhm.
okay, alright, making sure. Okay, number 4 is a resolution granting a variance extension to Paula Louvier, 436 Sands Point, to allow for living in an RV due to Hurricane Laura. Resolution 3323, Ms. Thomas.
Is Ms. Olivia here to speak on this item?
She said she wasn't coming, she had a doctor's appointment.
Okay, I have a note on here that we need to make an amendment to put an expiration date.
Land use voted no, so if y'all decide to do it, y'all need to put a date.
Okay, alright.
You have someone to speak, so.
Yes, Ms. Sigler, did you wanna speak on this?
I do, yes ma'am.
Hi, Carla Stigler, 440 Sands Point Drive, here in Sulphur. At the land use meeting, Ms. Louvier did not attend that either, and I was here with several of my neighbors who couldn't be present here tonight. And what I will say is, while none of us are unsympathetic, there's been no progress in years. And Ms. Louvier hasn't attended these meetings either, and so we would like, my neighbors and I would like an end date. It was voted no for an extension. There's been no work, there's been no compliance that we are aware of, and we would like to be able to move on as well with that situation.
Ms. Sigler, I know she was here for a meeting, I'm just not sure when.
It wasn't the land use one, that was on June 10th was the one that we were notified by the sign, like my neighbors and I were all here. Ms. Louvier didn't show up to that one either, and that's when they voted no.
She came 3 months ago.
3 months, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Alright, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So do we have a motion and a second on this?
Did y'all see the notice
So moved.
that Denise talked to her? Did y'all see the notes? I gave you some.
Oh,
Talked to her today.
Denise did.
Has she turned in any kind of paperwork to us showing that,
It's attached.
case you, like, any dates on this? I mean, this could be an anytime.
Maybe,
Nothing that you see now, there's no dates on it.
yeah, there's nothing, yeah, until we move forward.
So did you do a motion?
I made a motion.
Okay. Did someone second?
Second.
Alright, roll call please.
Well, just to be sure, if y'all are voting no, that's fine. If y'all are voting yes, it does need a date amended into it.
Yes, vote no.
That's fine.
That was my motion for vote no.
Okay, roll call please. If it,
Ms. Thomas,
No.
Ms. Ellender,
no.
Ms. Hardy,
No.
Ms. Abchar.
No,
Number 5 is a public hearing on ordinance accepting preliminary plat from Bell Commercial LLC for the Cedar subdivision located south of Mimosa Park Phase 2, west of Wright Nut Road, ordinance 8423. Need a motion and a second.
Motion.
so moved.
Okay, is there anyone here who wishes to speak on this?
Good evening, David Henskins with Stillwater Development, here on behalf of Bell Commercial. Really just, here to answer any questions that any of the council members may have, so.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? Anyone from the public? Please vote.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Ms. Abchar,
Yes,
Ms. Thomas,
Yes.
Ms. Ellender.
Yes. Number 6 is a public hearing on ordinance granting an exception to Gerald Burnett, 217 West Thomas Street, to allow for living in a business district, ordinance 8523. Ms. Hardy?
Is Mr. Burnett here?
Yes.
Gerald Burnett, 1668 East Majestic Drive, Sulphur.
Can you just tell us your
Alright,
rationale?
I went to the other hearing. Whenever I purchased this property, it was residential. And, I had some mobile homes on it, and since I moved the older mobile home off in anticipation of putting a newer one on, well, when I went to get with the city to get a permit to do so, I found out it'd been rezoned to a business. And, I'm not opposed to that, but I'm not a business investor, I'm just a small residential investor, so I'm trying to get permission to get that, exemption to put a residential home.
you gonna live there and you using this for rental property?
I'll be using it for rental.
Using it for rental?
And so what was on there prior to it being vacant? You said a trailer was there, a mobile home was there?
Yes, ma'am.
Austin, show the map again, the color, yes. So the yellow is all residential and the pink is,
And there's-
That's our master plan.
That's our master plan, that's to be,
That's for future.
that's for future.
And there are no businesses on that street, except when you go on the other side. I mean, it's home buildings. And, they had just moved a mobile home on like 100 foot from our property like a few months ago, so I just that one little block got caught up in the business zoning. Like I said, there's no businesses there. I mean, I love the increase in property value, but I have no intentions of putting a business there.
make a motion.
Second,
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? Anyone from the public? Roll call please.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Ms. Abchar,
no,
Ms. Thomas,
No.
Ms. Ellender.
No.
Motion carried.
Number 7 is a public hearing on ordinance declaring certain surplus movable property of the city of Sulphur and providing for the disposal thereof, ordinance 86-23, Mayor Danahay. You have on your, in your computer what it is that she's made, so. I'll need a motion in a second, please.
Second.
Okay, is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this item? Please vote.
Ms. Ellender,
Yes.
Ms. Hardy,
Yes.
Ms. Abchar,
Yes.
Ms. Thomas.
Yes.
Number 8 is a public hearing on ordinance amending ordinance number 1635 MC series, which authorized a lease agreement between the city of Sulphur and Verizon Wireless on Benoit Lane, ordinance 87-23, Mayor Danahay.
So moved.
Second?
Now,
Speak.
what Verizon's asking for is they're recommending an amendment to the current, contract that we have. And under the current contract, they're paying, monthly fee of, $2,459.60 a month. They're asking to go to $1,750 per month. The current, contract ends in 2027, and they want this one to, extend to 2028, with renewal term, well, beginning 2028. And they have renewal terms of 6 additional 5-year terms. So they're asking for a decrease in what they're paying currently, and then an additional amount of years that they would have on the contract. But it would be a reduction from the current contract.
From 2,400?
2028, would when it commence, because in 2027, when this current contract ends. And so 2028 is this one, they pick up.
But the
at a
monthly
lesser
note
amount.
is 2,400,
Currently, they're paying 24,
and they wanna go down
24.59, and they wanna go to 17.50.
$700.
Madam Chair, if we reject it, that leaves them a lease through 2027.
Right.
And so they can come back to us when it gets a little closer and, maybe the math of it means a little more to them then.
So we would recommend that we reject.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to speak on this? Anyone from the public? Roll call, please.
Ms. Hardy,
No.
Ms. Abchar,
No.
Ms. Thomas,
No.
Ms. Ellender.
No. Number 9 is an introduction of ordinance amending chapter 17, article 1 to provide for dead or diseased tree removal on private property and cost assessed against owner, ordinance 88-23. Ms. Abshire.
Madam Chair, our current ordinance does not address, dead trees. It addresses branches hanging over, sidewalks, but this ordinance is different. I don't know if you've watched the tree lines lately in our city, but particularly what I am referring to, or what I call the skeleton trees. Orland, do you have the PowerPoint on those trees?
Austin does.
If you notice, it's the skeleton trees that I'm extremely concerned with. I've done a lot of research on it. I've visited with the LSU Ag Center. I've visited with different arborists. And on your dead trees, and this is the skeleton ones, they are, it's not if they're gonna fall, it's when they're gonna fall. These trees, have, lost their substance. They may break midway, or if we get a monsoon season, they're gonna come down at the base. You will start to see limbs starting to fall from the tops of these trees. With this, they are like spears. They'll go through a rooftop, or worse, if they hit somebody, they can kill them. Week before last in New Orleans, St. Jackson Square, in front of the cathedral, is exactly what happened. There's a young man that is 16 years old that got hit by a tree, and he is in a trauma hospital in serious condition right now. This is a real concern. And you're saying, why do we have this? Why now? And I'm gonna give you exactly what the LSU Ag Center said. Trees, when you have it, that dying at this magnitude, it results normally from weather. We've had 3 horrific events. August 27, 2020, Hurricane Laura made landfall in Cameron with 150 mile-per-hour winds, catastrophic to structures, trees, and vegetation, with all creating public safety hazards. October 9th, 2020, Hurricane Delta made landfall in Creole with 100 mile-per-hour winds. While the winds were not at the level of Hurricane Laura, they were catastrophic and further impacted the path created by Laura. February 14th, 2021, an Arctic outbreak descended upon southwest Louisiana, impacting the area with a week of severe wintry weather and a hard blanket deep freeze of the landscape. This was a historic event, with wind chills in single digits and phenomenal ice accumulations. These 3 major events is what's led to these trees. What will normally happen after they've had this type of impact? You usually have about a 5-year duration of seeing the effects of this type of weather that we've had. Now, dead trees are a serious risk and hazard to public safety. That is my main concern, is public safety. You do not get warning when a tree's gonna fall. No more than that young man last week or week before last in New Orleans had warning. The different people around there said all of a sudden there was a huge crack and then a large boom. That's it. That's how quickly it will happen. Branches from treetops will break and fall like spears. Dead trees will lose their root base from lack of nutrients by not being able to absorb water. A dead tree will break in the middle of a trunk, or in heavy rains will topple over at the root base with no warning. The weight of a tree can kill. Dead trees cause property damage. Dead limbs become falling spears. The force of a falling tree can be catastrophic to life and to structures. Dead trees can damage power lines. Power outages can potentially put people at risk. Dead trees harbor insects and become habitats for unwanted pests. Termites love these dead trees, as well as rats and other critters that will make homes into the trunks of them. I am extremely concerned about them. These trees are throughout our city, and because I first started noticing them, and then in May, I had a constituent that contacted me and said that they were very concerned about someone that has been on the PPDR list, that is a long line on that list that the city has no control over. But they have been on it waiting for their tree to come down. They don't know when it's gonna come down. And they're very concerned that the tree is going to fall, and they have young children. So now they dictate, where they can play in the yard. But you know what, if you're driving your car, and we have some right on Maplewood Drive, you can't dictate if one comes down on you. And unfortunately, if one comes down on you, you may not even see it because it may come on the roof. You may not see it until you're smashed to the ground. So I am very concerned about it. I will tell you, I am not the only person in this state that's concerned about it. I've done a lot of research on it. In our state, there are currently 2 parishes and 18 cities that have dead tree ordinances. So this is not new. This wheel is not reinvented.
We have 2 people who wish to speak. Mr. Higginbotham?
Chris Higginbottom, 2510 Allen Street, Sulphur. So there is one concern that not just myself, but many in the community, I'm sure also have with that particular amendment. Particularly that it could end up used as a massive government overreach. Not disputing what Joy has said, but one of the concerns is that this amendment could be used by potentially the city or even unscrupulous commercial or business players in the area, basically to seize property they have their eyes on for development. It basically amounts to, there's concern that one person could accuse their neighbor of having a diseased or dying tree, and if that person does not have the money to prove that it is not dying, that it is not diseased, or does not have the money to remove it, that basically they're losing their home or their property over that. and in some cases over a tree that might or might not actually be diseased or damaged. Notwithstanding actual trees like these obvious skeleton trees.
Ms. Bodwin.
Do I need to state my name? Okay, sorry. Robin Bodwin, 2046 Louise Street, here in Sulphur. As you may know, some of you may know, my home was totally destroyed during Laura. I had 3 extremely tall pine trees in my front yard. One snapped, and 2 of the others took out part of my roof and then landed in a neighbor's yard. The others were taken down by me as soon as possible at my request. This was due to the fact that I was concerned about their condition and the harm that they would do to my neighbors and their property. At the time, it was an extreme hardship for me, but I paid to have the damaged trees removed at my own cost, for the safety and concern of others as well as myself. After 2 years, my new home was built in the same location and I was able to come home. I have no trees. My neighbors, however, have 2, possibly 3, extremely tall pine and oak trees in their front yard, dead as a result of Laura. On several occasions, neighbors have asked them to remove them, some even offering to split the cost. Today, the dead trees are still there. If for some reason those trees fall down, they would either hit my new home or one of the neighbors. They are tall enough to hit the house across the street. I have absolutely no ill will towards my neighbors, but the trees are a danger not only to me and to them, but the residents of my street, and they need to come down. Every time a strong storm rolls in, I become very anxious about these trees hitting my house or others. It is not fair that I suffer from the fear of another storm disaster because someone won't remove dead trees from their property. My situation isn't the only one. There are many hazardous situations with dead trees in my neighborhood. Many residents are concerned, but they have no one to turn to for help. At least this proposed ordinance is trying to help, as far as I can see. I don't see this proposed ordinance as a call for residents to be harshly ruled by the city, as ignorantly reported on social media. I see it as a solution to removing trees that are a clear and present danger. In my eyes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, and I support this proposed ordinance. Thank you.
Is there anyone else from the public that wishes to speak? Bill, I'm just gonna write you down. Thank you.
Bill LeBron, 710 LeBert Drive. Thank y'all for considering this. I hope you pass it. When you get it passed, I hope it's enforced to the full letter of it. Don't squint your nose at me, you know what I'm talking about. You passed some good legislation here a while back, and it's not being fully enforced, but this needs to be enforced. We're gonna have children die because of some of these trees. There's one on East Lines right now, and I guarantee you, every time I go by there, go slow, because I like new vehicles, you know? And it's gonna fall in the road, it's gonna take out all the electricity in that neighborhood, and it may hit the house across the street. And there's several trees right there together, and no one's doing anything about it. They want the city to take care of it. Well, I like for the city to cut my grass, pay my water bill, buy me a backflow preventer, you know, but they're not gonna do it. But y'all need to pass this thing. It's very good legislation. That's what you guys are up here for, and I can see it working all the time. Starting to pass more and more stuff that's gonna help us clean this place up. And it's got to be cleaned up. And I've never seen, and I've been against the city on a lot of occasions, you know, nose to nose with them. I've never seen them use one of these laws that the city council has passed to try to take anybody's property. They don't want the property. They want the property to stay on the tax rolls so that they can collect the taxes. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you. Okay, remember this is an introduction. It will come up again as a resolution if it passes in a month.
We need a motion. To amend Kate's changes.
You have changes?
Should we read those?
Yeah, I'll give a highlight of
Would you
them.
please say?
Now this is just for the introduction, you know, normally we wouldn't make the changes until we go to adopt it, but because you know, some of the public was interested in this. Joy asked, well, why don't we go ahead and make the changes now? And that way they can be in there when it's published. And that way everybody can look at the version that's planned and make suggestions to that. So, basically, in, subsection 17-6, we added a provision that said the per tree permit fee would be no more than $100 per property. And the idea is that for some reason you have a whole lot of trees, the city's just looking to get some of the cost of compliance of looking at the paperwork and stuff, and, you know, the thought was once you got to that was enough. The other is it would say, notwithstanding any provision of this section, no permit shall be required for normal clearing activities for property for which a grading permit has been obtained. So if you buy a piece of property to clear it, you know, make a lot, you know, for yourself, for like a subdivision or something, you get a grading permit, and so this would basically say you don't have to come in and pay per tree if you're clearing the property. Just a grading permit would cover you, and you wouldn't have to comply with this. The other, slightly changed the wording on the liability and insurance provisions. Those are just technical. And then the other one is we put in a reference. It already had a reference about placing it on the tax rolls, but we added the reference in section 5-295 to how we do the liens for noxious weeds. So if you don't cut your grass, we'll cut it for you and put a lien on your property. This would be the same principle. If you don't cut down your dead tree, we'll cut it for you, add an administrative fee as a fine, and put that as a lien on your property. Now, we don't wanna do that. Condemnations, grass cutting, all that, we go out of our way to give you notice that there's gonna be a hearing, and give you notice that it's gonna occur, and give you notice that you need to do it, and all those things. And at the end of the day, you know, we wanna do all that, cause it's not in our interest to spend the money and then have to be chasing it, you know, you don't wanna go in there, you know, can't get blood from a turnip sometimes. So at the end of the day, it's in our interest if people take care of their own business. If they don't, then it gives the provisions for a lien on this exactly the same as we would do if you didn't cut your grass. Just a great big version of grass. So that change was in 17-4. The only other one that I would suggest is in 17-3A, we delete the word potential. So it would read that this would be applicable to those dead or diseased trees that constitute a hazard to life, public safety, utility infrastructure, or others' property, or harbor insects or disease which constitute a threat to other trees within the city. I think there might be some concern that potential threat is vague, so we'll delete the word potential, would be my other suggestion. And I think that's a pretty high standard that has to meet. Anyway, so with those changes, if y'all do those changes, it'll get published in that form for everybody to look at and come back next month, having reviewed those changes. So there'd be a motion on the amendment if somebody wants to make it.
Yes, I'll make a motion for the amendment.
Second.
Okay, so we'll vote on the motion for the amendment. Roll call.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
And Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Now we'll vote on the introduction of the ordinance. Do we have a motion and a second for that, Orlando? Okay, we need a motion and a second for the amended introduction.
So moved. I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, anyone else wish to speak on this? All right, roll call please.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
And Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Okay, number 10 on the agenda is an introduction of ordinance accepting donation from Sealy Radcliffe Swisco Road LLC for the lift station on Calcasieu Industrial Drive. Ordinance 8923, Mayor Danahay.
Hey, Madam Chair, we just, accepted the donation of this. This happens to go with the, annexation of the Calcasieu Industrial Park.
So moved.
Second.
Is there anyone Public use is there. Okay, any discussion? Please vote.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes. Number 11 is an introduction of ordinance amending ordinance number 1851 MC series to increase tie-in inspection fees for water and sewer. Ordinance 9023, Mayor Danahay. Is that Ms. Thorne? Ms. Thorne? Mr. Evans?
So this, fee is just for the, inspection prior to, or post, doing the construction of the tie-in.
Okay.
It goes from $15 to $50, and it's meant to more match the actual cost.
Cost to do the inspection, okay. All right, I need a motion in a
moved.
second.
Second.
All right, any discussion? Please vote.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Number 12 is an introduction of ordinance amending and readopting the general fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Ordinance 9123, I think I refer this to Ms. Thorne.
Yes, so, this last year, what I did is projected about a $5 million reimbursement from FEMA for storm-related expenses. We received, $2.8 million, so I need to amend the revenue, from 5 million to 2.8 million. In doing that, it, reduced the general fund ending balance by $2.2 million. So therefore, on the next item, I need to amend the new budget so that the beginning balance can be reduced by the 2.2 million. It's really hard to project these things with storm related. We did this last year. We'll likely do this again next year. I've, put $5 million in as a placeholder for FEMA reimbursements. It could be 15 million next year. You know, it could be 3 million. There's just not a way to predict.
Question, so, I heard what you said about the 5 million predicted. So 2.8 million, that's it, no more? That's all we're getting?
That's all that we got for the fiscal year end 2023. So as of June 30th.
Got it.
Might get more
Yes.
next month.
Yes, I mean, I'm.
But the fiscal year,
Yes.
2.8 million.
Right, so I have a meeting tomorrow, we'll talk about some more reimbursements, and we've just applied for, grants from the state as well, for the, 10% cost share that we have with the program. But none of that money will be realized until the projects are closed out. We still have several open projects.
Thanks. And remember, this is an introduction, it will come up next month. But I need a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comment? Please vote.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Number 13 is an introduction of ordinance amending and readopting the general fund budget for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2024. Ordinance 9223, Mayor Danahay, and I'll refer to Ms.
The only thing changing here is the beginning fund balance, because we made a change to the fiscal year end 23.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar? Ms.
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
Number 14 is a resolution authorizing the request for proposals for municipal operations software. Resolution 3423, I'll refer to Ms. Montgomery. Okay. Ms. Montgomery is our IT person.
Expert.
We've been using our existing software since 1997, and it has served the city well, but it's nearing the end of its life cycle. We're looking for a fully integrated cloud-based solution for community development, financial, and payroll software modules. Our goals are to increase, customer service levels and responsiveness, implement best practices through process review and redesign, and to implement features that allow for greater staff efficiency.
Jennifer, I've been asking, probably sits out of the council, is this new software program gonna allow the different departments to, diary what, you know, if they go out and they look at a project or something that's being permitted, will it store the history so people can go back and y'all can confer instead of just in somebody's notebook or their mind, because it's long overdue?
We're looking for that type of software. So the RFP is gonna bring in the vendors and we'll do demos and evaluate. We've already started that process of looking, and there's some good ones out there, and that is available.
Desperately needed. Our city's growing, and there's just no way y'all can communicate timely enough to make sure that we're on top of whatever's happening at the moment.
We're also looking for a citizen portal, so they can do their permits and occupation license, utility bills, all that would be in one place.
Have you
Sounds
checked
great.
with, I'm sorry, have you checked with surrounding municipalities?
Yes. Check with-
Anything stands out from anywhere that?
Tyler keeps hitting. We've done some demos and they look really well. They would be able to handle all of it instead of having a bunch of different software vendors to provide a little bit here, a little bit there, and then they don't work together.
Any other questions?
Good work, thank you.
So moved.
Second.
Alright, is there anyone who wishes to speak on this? Roll call, please.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes. Number 15 is a resolution granting a variance to Jessica Landry, 497 East Carlton Street, to allow for a 2006 mobile home to be older than 10 years of age. Resolution 3523.
Hello. So awkward for me. Not a speaker. This has been like one of the roughest
You
years
wanna go
of
ahead
my
and
life.
state your name again and
Oh,
then your
sorry.
address, presently?
My name is Jessica Landry. My address is 2411 Estelle Drive, Sulphur, Louisiana. I've lived in this spot since 2011. Trailer is very important to me because I bought it with my mom's life insurance. I've basically fought for my life this whole past year, and when I finally made it through, that's when my landlord came about my yard. And for me, it really hasn't been safe for me or my kids outside, so that made it a little harder. And now that I'm finally getting away from that and I'm safe, now I'm fighting for me and my kids' home. And this is weird for me, like, this is the biggest adult thing I've ever had to take care of by myself, so panicking.
So you're just leasing the property, right?
Yes, ma'am, I own the trailer
You
though.
wanna move it from out of the city limits, older than 10 years old,
Yes, ma'am.
and bring it.
I tried to find other places. I've bounced between, I was supposed to move to my little girl's dad's land, then I was supposed to move to Ragley, then Lost Bluff, and this place really isn't ideal either, but it's all they had. So,
I think, if I'm not mistaken, where they're wanting to put it is a floodway. Austin, or not?
It is not, it's
Right out of the floodway.
the stuff that looks raggedy outside, once I get back up, that's getting fixed. I lost my job last year because my 6-year-old had to be tested for autism and a bunch of other things, and we don't really have family or anybody to assist, so I've completely failed.
Is it a floodway or not?
You said that your current landlord talked to you about,
Get my yard clean,
I'm gonna be honest with you, I mean, look, my heart is aching for you. But it looks bad, and I mean, just the simple things, like keeping the yard clean would be a good indication of, how you would maintain it, and I understand you had a lot on you, but
the lot owner mows all the properties, and my yard didn't look as rough as it does. We had to tear my porch down,
Yeah,
and
'cause
that
it's
put
basically-
everything in my yard.
Your front door doesn't look like it closes real well either. It looked like it was, it may,
That's
it
cause
just
it's
looked
been
like.
kicked off 5 times.
No, our goal here is we're trying to clean up our city, and the reason for the ordinance is because, well, what we saw on yours.
Is it even in condition to be moved?
I think those are the first pictures y'all they came with, because we've had to, they told me to get the back, that right there washed off. I had to fix my windows, and they're all 3 fixed. I had to crawl underneath my house and staple up everything, and that's all done. And it's all minor things that I have to fix, but it's getting the money to fix all this. My son was just approved for his disability, and as soon as I figure out how to get my car back running, I'm gonna be working again, and if it moves there, I'm gonna be walking to wherever I have to go to work.
You mentioned other options, you said Gillis and where else, that you possibly had options to move?
The Gillis was, an older man, it was my daughter's boyfriend's grandpa, and his land doesn't even have sewer there. And then the property in Sulphur was my daughter's dad's property, but he lied to me the whole time. So that wasn't really his property to do anything with.
Which property, Estelle Drive?
No, on, what is it, it's on 90, by that hotel, that little,
Vincent? Vincent?
yes. That's all washed off.
Have you made another inspection, Denise?
Yes, ma'am, they did.
So when were those pictures taken?
May of 23, May 18th is what I said.
So you
I went by just 2 weeks ago.
They came and did another inspection and approved it, and I was like, yes, I can breathe easy now, and then they called me back
Who
30
did the
minutes
inspection?
later.
approved it?
The city. What's his last name? It's a little bald guy, and a bigger guy came. Tommy.
I don't know, I haven't seen anything on it. We haven't.
Denise, if you're standing in front of your home, and that's the side right there, looking at it from the road, it looks like there might have been a fire or something, cause it's all kind of warpy looking, the vinyl is.
That's all tucked back in. It is still
That's weird.
warpy, but it's,
So these pictures are dated May 18th,
This was 2
2023.
weeks ago, I saw it.
I was evicted, February 29th, they came to my house, told me to get my yard cleaned up, and me and my children were outside until 10 o'clock. Cleaning my yard, and they still ended up evicting me. Which, I mean, honestly, it's kind of a godsend and not at the same time, because my kid's dad was arrested 2 weeks before I was evicted. So, it's kind of like God moving me.
Was that your first time they ever came to you and asked you that, or have there been more than one occasion? Cause it seems like if they gave you the first warning, then they evicted you, then
Maybe
you
like one,
hit
two,
it up, or
skip
they
a
just-
couple of years. But
Say
it's
again,
like
Jimmy?
right after winter had just like left, and that's whenever all the trucks are lining up at the station to go jump all their stuff. And it's like the day she comes to let us know, hey, clean it up, my older boys were already outside cleaning in the yard, and I'm like, yes ma'am, that's what we're doing. And I got my vehicle, I sold my vehicle for $200 just to get it out of the way.
Roll call, please. Oh, is there anyone from the public?
Yes.
Need a motion.
Jonathan Thibodeau, 204 East Carlton Street.
I'm against this. I'm not against mobile homes in any way. I'm against older mobile homes. Obviously, you're sitting on the property, you've looked around, you've seen the area. Y'all know what's in the area. It's not the prettiest looking already. I feel like we have enough of these. You know, you've been warned 2 or 3 times apparently about that one. I don't want that looking exactly like it does now over here. That's how I feel.
What's your address again? I'm sorry.
204 East Carlton.
Is that down, west?
That's on this side.
Okay.
Not far from there.
Okay, so, is there anyone else who wishes to speak? I need a motion in a second.
Hey, I gotta say something. Bill Braun, 7 Timberburg. I don't know this lady's situation, but, you know, what I've seen in the past is we've helped a lot of people, you know, where there's a trailer right down over from my property that's about 500 something square foot, it's never been cleaned up or anything, you know, every once in a while we get them in there and do a little bit of something, you know, whatever. And you know, Johnny and I were here, Johnny Thomas, I hate to call his name, but we were here and we offered to help with that, clean up and everything. When we get somebody that really needs, I think you guys need to postpone this thing and vote on it another time and find out what her situation is. You know, it sounds heartbreaking to me, you know, that she's fighting for her life or whatever she said, you know, and sometimes you can be a sucker for that, but you know, if you're looking at this trailer, you're looking at something that you guys sit up there and said, we need to put this on front of houses. And it's the worst thing in the world. If that was metal, no way it'd be warped like that. So you're gonna get exactly what you asked for sometimes, you know. If people go in and put vinyl siding on things, that's what you're gonna get. You know, you were so much against the metal and everything else. Those trailers are gonna warp. I don't care if they're 5 years old. I can show you some right now, they're 2 years old. They're not even that are warped. I've never been for trailer houses, you know. I had a couple trailer parks and I got out of the trailer business, you know, and started building the houses. But if there's a legitimate need, I think that the city, you know, I can't quote it right now because I'm playing for faith, family, and community or whatever, you know. If you're gonna do that, then make sure you're making a good decision. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not on his side, her side, or anybody else's side. But if she's got a genuine need, we'll help her. If she's, you know, just a malinger and doesn't do her business, doesn't take care of her place, whatever, don't help her. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much. Y'all wouldn't find them.
And it's not easy to make decisions. I went by and I looked at this property, cause that's what we need to do to be responsible to her. And I feel for her, but I also have to say, you know, if you have a landlord, I can't believe that they gave you one warning and then they gonna boot you. Obviously, there's some sort of history there, maybe not, I don't know the people, I don't know who your landlord is, nor did I have to know that. But, it's, two weeks, it was 2 weeks ago, and in all due respect, it looked just like it looks in these images, that's why I wanted to know, when did they go back and make another inspection on it? It looks just like that, and I'm sorry for that. But you also have people on the street too that, just like you, Bill, you've worked hard to bring the standards up, and we have to do that, and sometimes there comes tough decisions with that.
All I'm asking for is y'all make an educated decision. Got somebody you don't know has actually been there, whatever it is, didn't know if he'd been there, whatever. If he's been there, we need to know. Before you turn it down, she gotta wait a year or whatever it is, do something good.
Miss Landry, I'm not sure this is the best place for your mobile home. That's my dilemma. I have empathy for you, but I just don't know that this is the place for that. Of course, I live on the end of the street, the opposite way And over the years, to my dismay, before zoning and before we could kinda control what was going on a little bit, they put in all residential streets, mobile homes that were not there before, and mobile home parks and that kind of thing. And so, although I hear you, I would love to help you find a place that would be perfect for you to bring your mobile home. But I just don't think this is the place. It's just like he said, what's happening down the street is not pretty. And it was all because someone just decided to throw something here. So, all around you, I know across the street there's a mobile home, but all around you are residences that I would like to see it stay that way. So, do we have a motion in a second? Second. Please vote.
Miss Ellender?
No.
Miss Hardy?
No.
Miss Abchar?
No.
Miss Thomas?
No.
Item number 18, resolution authorizing Mayor Mike Danahay to sign a 2024 Calhoun Parish Police Jury Road and Drainage Trust Fund application and sign all applicable documents in connection therewith. Resolution 3823, Mayor Danahay. Oh,
Yeah.
Austin, I'm supposed to.
We're gonna go ahead and make application, the funds from this trust fund will be applied to the Lakeshore Bridge. You might be familiar with that bridge. DOTD does our bridge inspections, and they do have a tendency to come in, if they deem a bridge unsafe, they close it down immediately. The last time they did inspection on this bridge, they did put a weight limit on it, which concerns us. We certainly don't want to see that shut down. It will cause a lot of havoc in that area, so we're trying to push more funding towards that bridge. So, appreciate y'all.
Do they have a time frame on that?
Yeah, you're talking about the bridge?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's one, we're in the funding mechanism for it. There's gonna be asset properties that are gonna have to be purchased in connection with it because of the cut off some of the properties, because that bridge will have to be elevated. So, we've been in conversation with some of the landowners there,
We're being proactive.
trying to get out front of this.
So along with the replacement of the bridge, additional work,
Yes, there's been some discussion, Austin and I have spoken about this, about probably possibly widening that area, because the bridge will be wider, of course. There are some other issues within the area that we have to consider. I think we have some, Sulphur mains and things like that, we have to take into consideration in that whole process. Plus, we have a couple businesses that might be impacted, so,
and coordinating that with communicating to the Calhoun Parish School.
yes, yes, yes.
That was my premise
Yeah,
behind that question. That's gonna be a
Yeah,
nightmare.
it does cause issues down there, traffic flow down, especially at peak times at school time. But I don't think they have a tendency to back up in that area, so, that's always been
Yes, this is, a list of 16 streets that we plan to overlay, and this is strictly overlays. We're not, addressing any utilities, and that was kind of the idea behind the list, is the ones that we don't have utility issues currently, so. And that list is in the budget. 2022, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Please vote.
Ms. Abchar?
Yes.
Ms. Thomas?
Yes.
Ms. Ellender?
Yes.
Ms. Hardy?
Yes.
This is the item 19, public comment. I ask that you stay 3 minutes or less and only speak on one item, one time per item. And all we have here is Ms. Robertson.
Cindy Robertson, 624 West Burdine. I wanted to let the council know and the city know that I've been working with some Harvard interns, and they are working on community solar projects that we can access through the IRA funding, and that I would like to see if the council and the city would partner with us to bring some relief on utility costs to our low-income folks. I just wanted to give y'all a heads up.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? Okay, that will end the public comment section of the agenda. Is there anything any of the council would like to say?
Well, I had my calendar in front of me, I could give you an actual date, but in a month from now, it'll be August 10th. And school will start, I think it's that Friday, shame on me, because I don't have the actual date, but anyway, stay tuned, school is around the corner, drive safely. Our police officers, don't you have an August 1st date coming up?
Yes, ma'am, National Night Out.
August 1st, yeah. I got that date right.
West Cal Vincent, yes, sir. Open to the public.
Excuse me, the arena.
Yes, I'm sorry, West Cal Vincent. Open to the public.
And school starts August 11th, it's a big Friday, wow.
I thank you, for hearing my concerns about, the dead tree ordinance. Put a great deal of time in it and, proposal, and, again, it's not to hurt anybody, but hopefully to create safety and also improve the aesthetics of our city as well.